Good morning, all of you, and a happy Easter. You know, I don't like it here. I can't see your faces. How does it feel to be here? Do you like it? I think we deserve this, and this is very definitely the beginning of more for us. Do you ever get a glimpse of yourself when you look into a mirror and somehow standing behind the one in the mirror is a sense of something that's more brilliant, more essential, more exquisite than the one you're looking at? Do you ever feel yourself step into a mesmerized behavior and capture just before you to step into it a sense of another way to function? Have you ever had a pain physically so deep that as you felt it run through your body, you got a glimmer that maybe it was possible to shed this body awareness and to leap into another way of relating to your body that was much grander than the way that you were functioning? Have any of you recently gotten tired of being tied up into a kind of living way, a diet, a health plan, an activity that has made you feel as if you were bound, limited, made you kind of tired of having to hold on to that way of existing? Have you ever heard yourself speaking words and had a sense behind the words that there was a way of expressing that was richer, deeper, more sublime than the ones that you've been captured in? Have you ever gotten involved in a fad and understood that the fad was running you and that wasn't really what you wanted to do? Have you ever passed in front of a mirror and looked at yourself and said, "My God, that's not me"? Have you ever stepped behind the crack of lightning? Those have-yous, those do-you-evers, have a little bit to do with Easter, at least as I see it. And the reason I see it that way is because the call of Easter is to remind us once again, and it isn't once a year, it's once a minute, to remind us once again that within the tomb of your existence is a tremendous potential that is way beyond what you are living out right this instant, and you must ever keep your mind on that. And as you do, living becomes more zealous, more joyous, more abundant, more bountiful internally. Do you ever just think about Easter and what Jesus did? And that's what I'm talking about this morning. I'm talking to you this morning about your becoming involved. Not letting Easter be an external thing that happened 2,000 years ago, but letting it become a now thing that happens this instant within you. How do you suppose Jesus did it? Do you think he was any different than you and me? No. That's what unity is about, is that commitment to, there's no separation between you and Jesus. Jesus said, "These things and greater than these can you do also." And I'm just here this morning to remind you again, yeah, that's true. Let's baptize it again. Let's honor it again. Let's live it out again. Let's stop living within our crusts, our shells. Let's take on the message of Easter and crack the shells. Why do you think chickens are so important at Easter? You know, what's the world trying to say that it doesn't even honor? It's talking about chickens somehow, little chicks inside those little eggs, go through a stupendous process. Seeds in the darkness of the ground go through a stupendous process. What if they lived as we did and said, this is it? And I'm not putting you down, and there's no need for guilt. There's just this day, this time to remember again. I'm not saying anything new. You don't even need to be here to hear it. We're just here to remember again. I'm here to remind me and to remind you, and you remind me that this ain't it. This is not all there is. And you don't have to die to experience. You can be resurrected in the body. You can. My God, do you realize what this man did, what Jesus did? I mean, do you ever just sit around like a minister does and say, what am I going to talk about on Easter Sunday morning for the 15th time? Why don't you act it out? Just sit around and think about, what was he doing? What did he do? Well, clearly, he made a decision. And his decision was, I'm not going to let death kill me. Why don't you say that inside yourself right this minute? I'm not going to let what's limiting me control me. I'm not going to let this be the end. I'm not going to let the cancer be the end. I'm not going to let the financial despair be the end. I'm not going to let falling in love be the end. I'm not going to let this new apartment and this new mate and this new treasure house of young love be the end. Joy can kill you as well as despair, you know. You can get locked into anything. Decision Jesus made was no to this, and no to this, and yes to this, beyond the shell, beyond the egg, beyond myself. I don't have to walk around inadequate anymore. I don't have to walk around only reacting with anger, only assuming that life's out to get me, to put me down, to hurt me, to hold me in, that every word that another person says to me is somehow a limit to me. No, I don't have to speak to that, respond that way to life anymore. That's the beginning of Easter. That's the decision. Make it. Make it. Why? For me? No, I made that decision. I make it every second. I make it every time I watch myself step into an area of the unknown. And stepping into this place has been stepping into an area of the unknown. Do you think it was done easily? Don't you think that there were a lot who said, go into a crummy theater with popcorn? All those terrible vibrations. Make a decision. Make a decision that you are beyond the shell. Make a decision that you and your chrysalis are the butterfly. Make a decision that you in the seed are the rose. And then let go how it shall evolve. Promise me, let go how it shall evolve. Promise me, let go how it shall evolve. But make a commitment that you are larger than the shell. And I tell you, you don't have to do much else after that. I know. If I were down south, I'd say, will you make that decision? Brothers, sisters, will you? Come on, I want a bigger response. I've got a crowd. Make a decision, will you? Yes. Let's do that again. Make a decision, will you? Yes. Now, when this lesson's almost over, I'm a practical realist. I've been conned by religion too. And what religion conned me with was to say that once I made that decision that everything would get doggone easy. Well, I want you to take a look at Jesus' life. That's not what happened. And this is where it gets difficult, and you don't have to get a martyr about it, and you don't have to scream too loud the first time through. You generally do, but after you kind of wander into this thing, you start realizing, why scream? Let's just get on the ride. And the ride involves crucifixion. I'm thinking about David right this now. His wife's pregnant. He's going to have a baby. You know, you don't have a baby without tremendous stripping away of what you've been. You give up income that you've played with for years. You don't make a commitment to let go of a cancerous tumor, but that you have to crucify, strip away whatever that has meant to you. You don't leave a little Unity Center of Walnut Creek with the nice cozy walls and the 8-foot roofs and step into a much larger place without crucifying those little kernels of intimacy. And can you say in its place, oh well, we'll find some other way? I don't know. I think you just have to let it evolve. You don't come to somebody and say, I'm in the middle of a midlife crisis, help. And have the person who's sitting there with you say, you can keep everything you've had, friend, and make a new life. No, that's not what's said. What's said is, that which you've been must be crucified. Take off your body, the physical ways you've manifested. And then comes the tomb, you see. And none of us like that. Parents who are going to have babies have to spend more time alone. People going through midlife crises or dark nights of the soul have to find a way to be their own inner counsel. People who want to be healed must enter into a tomb. You want to give up a fad, you want to give up a way of treating your body. You want to break through that tomb into a new creature under the sun. It takes tomb-like situations. Have you been alone with yourself lately? Have you sat inside recently? Are you too busy? You've got to. I must. And this is no grandiose display. This is my simplest self. That's what creates the rock rolling away. Can't you feel that? Can't you feel what happened in the tomb when people have the courage to step into the tomb? I've watched it with hundreds of you. And now we have to have more hundreds. Because we're all going there. I see it happening. More and more of us are making a commitment to a deeper spiritual life and the fruits of that life. And what happens when you step into that tomb and when you dare to be in that darkness with yourself? It's rended. You know what that feels like? Can you feel it inside of yourself? Can you feel that potential that it's there for you? You're not the one who's left out this time. Can you imagine what happened in that tomb when he dared to go in, when he dared to crucify his body and to go inside of that temple? That tomb is the same thing. There must have been shattering going on. When you give up drinking, gambling, smoking, excess of anything, words, emotions, passion, hunger, you will be rended. The shell will be broken. The earth will move. And it's there for you, friends. It's there for you. It's there for you. It's there for you. It's there for you. God, it's there for you. And then a new being oozes through the former structure. The rock is rolled away. The former way of being is shed. Something shines. A bud pops. All of that silk around the chrysalis splits. Can you feel it? And from that, the new steps forth. And it has new form. Jesus had a different body on. The chrysalis has become the butterfly. The seeds become the rose. So it is with you. I don't know what it will be like. I don't think Jesus did when he stepped in. And I know that once that new steps forth, then will begin the life that then once again will one day make a decision to say enough to this too, and let itself be crucified, to enter into a tomb, to be transformed, to awaken into a new. On this Easter Sunday, 1985, I share with you the victory of life. The victory of life here, now, on this earth, inside you, in the body as you are, to become transformed. And there's only one thing you really have to do: make a decision, step in, and be willing to let all that you've been be shattered. And in its shattering, become singular and alone. It's so true. Only then to be electrified into something else, to begin again.